We're live, folks. Greetings. Greetings from Seavage Land. We're back again. Another cream-filled adventure with you folks. Let us get into trouble. Again, this was sort of impromptu. I didn't, there was a little bit of time. I gave a couple days before I knew I was going to do this. Kind of chilly in this room right now. I got the heater going. Hello, we are here. We are back. It's been, I don't know, like 3 weeks, something like that. Hello, Sean. Hello, who dat? How you guys doing? I figure tonight we'll just do a nice Q&A. If you guys have some questions, I'll answer. I didn't really have a theme this go round. We just dropped a Critters, a new binge review that I did. Casey and I did a new gourmet scum from here that will go up in the next couple of days. We've got some Star Wars shows coming up in April because of the big Star Wars celebration, and they're gonna unleash the Episode 9 trailer and the Mandalorian trailer and the posters and all that stuff, and there'll be a huge glut of Star Wars news to talk about, so we're gonna be doing quite a few episodes of that. So yeah, so tonight is just a whatever, really. Keep it in the realm of 80s or my movies or horror, or geekdom, superheroes, comics, all that stuff. Keep it geeky, folks. Keep it geeky. Although, you want to talk about curvy women and large natural breasts, maybe I've got something to say on that subject. Maybe I don't. But so far we got Sean and Who Dat in here. Did a few things the last couple of weeks, last month, I guess. I'm also feeling a little weird today. I'm coming off of, it's been about a week now that I've been off of, maybe a week and a half, all the antibiotics for the issues I was having, and I've been taking this vitamin every day, but I've also been feeling like really weird, like very heavy. I'm a little dizzy and wobbly here and there, but very heavy. My head feels heavy. I don't know. I'm probably gonna have to make another doctor's appointment just to see what the hell's going on. In actuality, I mean, there's some issues going on anyway. I don't know. Like, I don't know. Maybe you guys will notice it as you get older, but now that I'm into my 40s, I definitely feel less energetic. I mean, I certainly, it's been happening the last few years, but I've noticed my muscle depletion, and I feel like I'm bony more. I don't know. I just feel like it's the decay has accelerated. Even though I exercise and do what I can to keep the Seavage in pseudo top shape, I don't know. I just haven't been feeling right for a while, and See what's going on. Who Dat Whale, as I was telling you earlier, I got the Condor and Vampire. What would you recommend next from the Mask line? Well, I mean, as you saw from my video, the Mask themed video, which you can watch on this channel, folks, down below. I really was only recollecting the stuff that I grew up with, the stuff that I had in my collection. So for the most part, I've got everything that I wanted from the Mask line that I had. But my favorites are the Rhino. I love the Rhino. I think that is like, other than the Thunderhawk, which is Matt Tracker's flying car, the Rhino and Thunderhawk were like those were the toys to get back in the day, you know. But I love those ones. I mean, there's a couple, I guess, in the first two lines that I still want to get. I want to get the Gator. I want the Firecracker. But for the most part, I got everything that I had, and it's a great collection. I love seeing it. You know, every now and again, like, you know, I don't know if I forget that I have it, but I'll do a double take and look and just be like, man, this is taking me back. This is my childhood, you know. I mean, it's certainly like that with all my Star Wars and He-Man and things, and Ghostbusters and things like that. You know, all the toys that I have recollected. But Mask was one of the big ones, you know. So it's very cool to have back. Boulder Hill, all that stuff. You know, so. Tom, hello, Tom. You are here. Who Dat Whale? The Firefly looks really nice. I found one for $31. That's pretty good. Is it complete? I have the Firefly up there with box as well. Interesting enough, but yes, $31 is a great price. You know, obviously if it comes with the box, that's even sweeter. Again, this is not for resale. Anything that I am recollecting back in my 80s collection is I'm not parting with. This is stuff that I want, that makes me happy, that brings me joy, makes me smile, and brings me right back to my childhood. So those prices are pretty good. It's when they get a little bit goofy, you know. I mean, people were charging. I understand if it's like in a pristine box, you know, and all the pieces are still in there. People are going to charge lots of money. Now, do I think you should pay $1,000 for a Rhino in a box? Absolutely not. That's ridiculous. But 31 is pretty good for the Firefly, as long as it's still in good condition, you know. There was, somebody did ask something about, oh, okay, so number 9 says, how did so many of your films end up on Amazon Prime? Number 9, hello. Are you a subscriber? Are you a fan of the stuff? I don't know. But good to see you. Well, that is because my stuff is, like, I don't own a lot of my movies. I make the movies, and then distribution companies have them, and then they do what they want with them. Listen, I am broke. I do not make money off of my movies. That's not why you should be making movies anyway. Certainly not the types of movies I make. But anyway, I don't make any money. But the movies that are out there, I mean, my movies used to be on Netflix. My movies used to be in Media Play and Sam Goodies and places like that. And but I never, that wasn't I had nothing to do with that. Those are a bunch of different distribution companies that are out there who have my stuff and do what they will with them. So, you know, I've made 60 movies, and I think 28 of them are out in the world. around the world. So. Laugh-O-Grams. I'm gonna try to make it out to Tampa Bay RetroCon this weekend. Anything you need me to keep an eye out for? Well, listen, uh, Tom, if check out my the first of many toy episodes that we just did. I think it was our favorite 80s toys growing up or something like that, Tansky and I. But I have a grail list, and there's a bunch of stuff that I want back in my collection, and some stuff that I wanted so bad but never got. Um, you know, Star Wars, the Imperial Shuttle. I want my Rancor back, the original Rancor, with box if possible, but, you know, I want it complete. Mine was destroyed thanks to my stupidity as a 8-year-old, 7-year-old back then, 6-year-old. 1983, I was 6, yeah. I want Centurions. It's not a big line, but I want all of them. I have 2 of them, but I want all the accoutrements and weapons that can attach to them. But I had all of the Centurions, and I want them back. Sectors, any of the Sectors. I had a nice little collection of Sectors, so I'm recollecting. I want the bigger bug puppets that they ride on, complete. That would be nice. Bionic 6. I'm looking for the Bionic 6. I had the Bionic 6. And I want them loose or carded. Of course, the real Ghostbusters. I want a bunch of my real Ghostbusters back. Thanks to Sean, I just got Peter and Ray with proton packs with their ghosts. Insane, so awesome. So I need Winston Egon with proton packs with their ghosts. And Fearsome Flush, Gruesome Granny. I want those guys back in my collection. Food Fighters and their assault vehicles. I want the Food Fighters back. Things like that. And the Star Wars again. Like I had a very big collection of Star Wars growing up. I mean, as I've said before, Star Wars was my first real big toy line. You know, I was obsessed with Star Wars since friggin' I was 4 years old. You know, and that was, Jesus, I don't know, that was 1980, 1981? I don't know, I was young. But I've been obsessed with Star Wars and all those toys and everything. And so, but I'm recollecting my Return of the Jedi line. So any of the stuff from Return of the Jedi, loose, complete, or in carded. But yeah, I don't know. Who Dat Whale? Chris, I seen some outrageous prices. You're right, they go, yeah, I mean, you know, there's price gougers out there. And unfortunately, there's people out there who will pay those prices because they don't either know any better or it means that much to them. And the person offering is just taking advantage of the person. They're not really a collector themselves. They just want to make that money. And it's unfortunate. It's fucking lame. 9. Fan of your films. Well, lucky for us. Thank you. Thank you. I'm glad you enjoy some of them. Truth be told, I hate the majority of everything that I've made. I can count on both hands the movies that I actually love that I've made. Even though it's all coming from me, coming from up here, I just, you know, not all of them can be turds. Who Dat Whale? I've only seen one movie, Chris, you made, and I thought it was really good. Teen Ape Goes to Camp. It had me laughing. Great job, in my opinion. Thank you. Yes, 2007's Teen Ape Goes to Camp. Many moons ago. Sean, have I checked how high my stuff goes on eBay? I've seen some people, you know, I'll get little messages here and there. It's like, look at this. You know, it's one of my movies and somebody's selling it on eBay. Certainly some of the old because I've been selling at conventions since 1996, and that was all the VHS stuff. So we were selling on VHS for a very long time, because I was shooting on VHS. From the late 80s into the 90s, I was shooting on VHS. I was shooting on VHS up until the year 2000 when we shot Malva Zombie Ass Kicker. Everything before that was all VHS. And then it was mini DV. And then off and on when we do the Warlock stuff, it's VHS or 4K. But I know like a lot of those VHS, like they're ridiculously priced, which is whatever. It's cool, that stuff is circulating. 09. I really loved Moist Fury. Hilarious as fuck. That's great. Awesome. Thank you. I don't like it, but thank you. There's stuff that I wrote in it that I think is funny, and I just think the execution wasn't very good, and there was a lot of things that went wrong. But and if you love the character of Deathbone, he is coming back. Hopefully, shooting a movie. I haven't shot a movie in 3 years, but hopefully, this September we are getting back on the horse, and I'm making another movie with the character of Deathbone in the film. The Mist. Hello. How are you? Hello. Hello. Greetings. Come to the chat. Talk to us. Talk to us. Ask us questions. It's fantastic. It's great. Just talk to me. Come on. Do it. Chase. 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 What's going on? I am keeping it tight. I haven't heard from Chase in a very long time. Chase is a young man who is out there pursuing his dreams of making low-budget films and being a special effects artist as well, and I love seeing that. I love when the youth are still out there, pushing forward to be creative and imaginative and keeping the flame alive, keeping that flame of the 80s horror and 80s special effects alive and magically moist. Tom, where's Casey tonight? It's me. I don't know. At his home with his wife. Enjoying his metrosexuality. David! How's the week treating me? I could be better, but it's, it's alright. How are you? How are you, David? Yeah, as I said from the beginning, in the get-go, there's something going on inside me. I don't know what it is. It's feeling really weird. I don't know if it's like aftermath from all the shit that I've been taking because of the other shit that I had to deal with the last month. But yeah, I feel a little wobbly and awkward and dizzy off and on and heavy-headed. I don't know. I gotta make another doctor's appointment. I don't know what's going on. It's, me being a hypochondriac, paranoid freak, I always think I'm dying. I think I've got a million things wrong with me. I probably have a tumor. I've got, heart disease. Who knows? It's a million different things with me. They always check me out and I'm always fine. But you never know. So I say stick with the checkups every 6 months or earlier if you need to, Keep yourself in shape, especially us folks who are who are into our 40s and the decaying is starting to ramp up. Keep yourself in shape. Dale, hey buddy, first thing, I hope your son had a wonderful birthday. He did. He had an awesome birthday. He was really happy. He had a good birthday. He had a buddy over, stay overnight, and they just were in the theater room the whole time, just stayed up till 3 a.m. watching movies, playing PlayStation 4 down there on the big screen. I let them have like as many snacks and as they wanted, pizza, whatever. Also took them there was an advanced screening of Shazam. So we all went to see Shazam, which was fun. So he had a good birthday, good 12. What is the favorite movie that I have made? My favorite film that I've made is The Weirdsies. That is my favorite film I have ever made. It was a passion project. It was very special to me. There's more that I like, but that is my favorite out of my films. Who Dat Whale? Chris, any interest in visionaries? I did have a few visionaries growing up, and actually that line is super small too. But I don't. It's not something. You know, if I found like a couple complete visionaries with their hologram still intact and a weapon and their helmet with them, and it was like $10 for the loose figure, I'd totally do it. I would put a couple of them in there just to add to the montage, the collection, the collage of 80s toys that were in my life back then. So, but it's not a line that I am actively trying to seek. Lavagrams, oh my god, dude, I watched that video of you and your wife, most of it anyways. It was great. I like when she goes, this doesn't really faze me because he is always like this. I was dying. Yeah, I mean, she's used to it, you know? Oh, we want to make another one because, like, I don't know, I like when she gets more, she has her geeky sides, and her thing is totally video games. That's her big thing. She is gaga for video games, and mostly all the video games she grew up with in the 90s. She's 9 years younger than me. I'm in my 40s and she is in her 30s. So her childhood was the 90s, and whereas I was in my teens going into my 20s. But her big thing was video games, so she loves Super Nintendo and all that stuff. And you know, her and my son are the big gamers in the house, and they have a game room and a million games. And I have the things that I loved, you know, certain games, and from Nintendo, Sega Genesis, you know, Super Nintendo, things like that. Games from those systems that I love, but I was never, you know, I was making movies outdoors and playing with toys outside and doing all that stuff. David, so many icons dying lately. Larry Cohen, Joe Pilato. Yeah, I don't like hearing about death. I don't like talking about death. It's just, it is my biggest fear. I mean, it's, you know, who wants to die, you know? But it terrifies me. Because as much as this world is garbage, I love life. I love being here. I love being a geek today, the golden age of geekery, of geekdom, because it's amazing. And I love my family. I love my son. I want to see my son. You know, I want to grow old enough to be able to see my son grow old, or you know, become the person he's going to become, and all that stuff. So fuck death. It's a cruel, cruel joke. And I don't believe in God either. I don't believe in God and any of that crap. But this whole thing is just crazy, wild, vast. I mean, I've said it before, we are nothings floating on a giant rock in the middle of nothing. And there's other planets and galaxies and civilizations and other beings out there. I mean, we have no idea. It's crazy. This is insane. Insane. It's insane stuff. And death is just a terrible joke. Terrible joke. Levelgram, y'all seem like the perfect yin and yang. We try to be. We try to be. The Mist, cool shit, very chill. I don't know what that means, or what you're referring to, The Mist. Gavin, hey. Gavin, hello! David, how was Shazam? It looks like a lot of fun, and the director, David Sandberg, seems like a good dude. Shazam was fun. It really was fun. It's not my favorite out of the newer DC films. I loved Aquaman. I love Wonder Woman. Shazam is just super fun. It is a comic book. Truest sense, it is a comic book come to life. Super fun, super fun. I talk more about it on an upcoming episode that's going to drop soon of Gourmet Scum. Nine, good to hear you're going to work with Billy Garbarine again. What's it like making movies with him? Well, Billy and I have been friends now for 13 years. 13 years. And even before that, we had known each other. And he did a short that I co-wrote before we even met called Scream, Science Bastard Scream. And I wrote his character. And when I saw the way he portrayed the character that I wrote, I was like, I need Billy Garbarine in my movies. So we started up our friendship late 2006, and then he became a member of LBP Warlock in 2007. And since then, he's done probably 15, 16 movies with me. And Billy's just a fantastic guy. I absolutely love writing for Billy. It's so much fun. And he's a filmmaker too, so he knows the trials and tribulations. He knows the woes and the pain, the ups and downs of being a filmmaker. So we have had so many late night discussions and talks and you know, bonding for the last 13 years. But he's just he's a great dude. It's funny, chronic narcoleptic when he's making a movie. It's funny when it's just Billy and we're all hanging out and we're like watching movies, or you know, because he's my buddy, so he's been here many times, not just to make a movie but to hang out, and you know, we do a lot of marathons here and everything. But he's just fine. He's funny Billy. But when he's making a movie, it's like anywhere he sits, he falls asleep. Anywhere, you know, he'll find a spot, he'll find a nook and just fall asleep. You know, where's Billy? We need help doing this. Oh, he's hiding somewhere sleeping. It's a running joke that we've had for years. Ethelgrams, if you've seen 21 Jump Street movie with Jonah Hill, but there's a moment that I really identify with. He says something like, if I had just gone to high school today, I'd be the coolest kid in school. You ever feel like that? Like, damn, all my favorite geeky shit is cool now. And people that made fun of me for liking it are huge fans now. I don't feel like that because I didn't give a shit about what anybody thought of me. And I had I was a group of 12 geeks. Like, these were the kids back then in middle school, high school that I pulled in to make movies with me growing up. And we were our own little 12 kid group of buffoons. We didn't give a shit about anybody. Like, as far as like picking on us or making fun of us, and we could care less. So, I mean, I had a ball. You know, I wasn't the greatest student. Truth be told, I was always writing scripts and, you know, reading comic books or reading movie magazines or you know, Fangorias or things like that in school when I should have been doing work. But yeah, I mean, it was a very creative and fun time. And I mean, it was when I first, you know, was making these backyard movies. You know, people would be like, because I always wore horror shirts or comic book shirts or things like that growing up. Star Wars shirts, what have you. So people would be like, nerd, you know. But so what? It didn't, you know. Eventually, those quote-unquote bullies ended up thinking I was hilarious because I would, you know, ultimately, you know, I was a goofball, so I made people laugh. So in the end, they just ended up just being like, Chris, you're such a weirdo, you know, and they would just laugh at the shit I was doing. So, I don't know. Oh, that sucks, Tom. I mean, you know, that's certainly prevalent. But yes, I mean, now it's, I mean, everything that was considered nerdy or geeky back then is top shit right now. I mean, everybody loves all the shit that we always loved, you know? So, David, sweet or spicy food? What's the Sievage prefer? Both, unfortunately, much to my body's chagrin. I love spicy foods. One of my favorite foods is, you know, Indian curry, Indian masala, tikka masala, makti, all that stuff. I love that stuff. Um, I love jalapenos, spicy Mexican, you know. But I have a sweet tooth, terrible sweet tooth. It's terrible. I'm actually like on a 30-day diet that Katie and I are doing before we head off to Orlando again at the end of next month. But because we want to not only, again, I freak out about my heart and, you know, all sorts of diseases. Who knows? But I try to stay in relatively decent shape and eat relatively good, but I like a lot of garbage. And the sweets are definitely that's a vice for sure. I love confectionery treats. I love donuts. I love cakes. I love pastries and you know, ice creams and all that stuff. Chocolate. Gotta you know, taper that off. Oh, nine. Where are most of your films made? Hate to keep bringing it back to your film. Sorry, I live in Tennessee, and it always looks like it's just down the road or something. No, we can talk about my movies. I mean, this is a free for all, man. You know, as long as it's 80s, my movies, horror, comedy, you know, films, comic books, toys, whatever. Talk about it all. I make the films wherever I can. For the most part, it's close by. We like to have a home base. Um, so the home base is usually the home. If we're doing locations, sometimes you got to pay for those certain locations. But we try to do stuff where um, we know it's not going to be too hard to do, too hard to pull off, too hard to pay for if we have to. Um, but we try to keep it relatively close. I mean, I've driven, you know, the most we'll drive now when we're shooting stuff is like 2 hours to a place, to a location or something like that. Uh, but yeah, and we shoot a Chris Seaver movie in 2 to 3 days. That's it. That is it. I think the most we've ever shot a movie. I made a movie for Troma in 2009, and that movie took 4 days, which was like a huge deal for us. I think maybe Deathbone took 4 days as well, but I don't know why. I guess maybe because of all the effects that we had in that one. But for the most part, we shoot 2 to 3 days tops, and that's it. Too many passion flakies, Sean. I love passion flakies, but I've been, you know, holding those off. I only get a box every few months, maybe, and there's only 6 in a box. So, Gavin, drumsticks, my only weakness. The ice cream drumsticks. Who dat whale? Chris, visionaries or supernaturals? Well, visionaries. Supernaturals, I think I had maybe 2 supernaturals, but at least visionaries were actually friggin', you could articulate them, and they were action figures, and they had sweet vehicles. I wasn't a big fan of supernaturals, just because it was like, seemed like a lazy design to me, even as a kid. Like, it was just like the outer shell and then a giant hologram. And then with the smaller ones, the caped shells with a hologram. I didn't, no thanks for supernaturals. NES Addict, hello, greetings. Glad you could show up. David, is Lloyd Kaufman's Make Your Own Damn Movie any good? Have you read it? Yes, I've read it. I'm in it. He wrote about me and my films in that book. Um, yeah, I mean, if if you're an aspiring filmmaker, it's good to read any of those independent, low budget film books. You know, and do it yourself, man. Do it the way you want to do it. Don't do it. We make movies the way Chris Seaver makes movies, and it's not necessarily how you should make movies. People have scoffed at the way that I've made movies, but it's just how we do it. I truthfully, I don't think there's one way, set way. Hollywood and the people out there are going to tell you differently. They're going to say, this is how you need to make a movie or else it's not a movie. Bullshit. They are doing it their way, and a very outdated, set in their ways way of Hollywood movie making, and it's wasteful and it's bullshit. But that's just me, you know. But yes, read it all. Just like I did growing up. I read it all. I would rent movie documentaries, mostly genre stuff, because that's my wheelhouse. That's the stuff that I love. I'm not a drama guy. I don't care about any of that shit. Real life stuff, biographies type. It's not my thing. But genre stuff, special effects, and fantasy genre filmmaking and things like that. Who Dat Whale? I agree. Visionaries. Have you seen the cartoon? Absolutely, I've seen the cartoon. Yes, it is. It's a one-off cartoon. It's very short. NES Addict. Sorry, Mom called. No problem. I'm glad you're here, NES Addict. Dale, has there been any new books come out that you like to read? I'm a comic book reader. I'm a graphic novels reader. I like film books. I like movie making books, things like that. Every now and again, I'll get like a book that's based off the mythology of something like Star Wars, or because there's ongoing books for Star Wars, or fantasy novels, things like that. But mostly graphic novels, and then any of the '80s stuff I read, '80s nostalgia books. Again, movie making books, books about certain franchises, things like that. I like that stuff. That appeals to me. I read old TV guides. In fact, any of you guys have any '80s TV guides, please send them my way. I want them. I'm recollecting TV guides from the '80s. Preferably 82 to 89. Yeah. Because that's when 82 is when I know that I visually, coherently knew of what was going on. I was born in 77, but 82 I think is really when things took hold, and I started to, like things. Media, things like that. Shows, and had preferences. Lavograms, is there anything nostalgia-wise that you'd like to see featured on Stranger Things that they haven't touched on yet? No, because then I think it would be too hokey. I think if they focused on something like that, it would be too hokey. I think what they're doing is fantastic the way they're doing it. They're not showcasing these things to be like, hey, look, we're referencing the 80s and blah blah blah. It just is, and they've made that show a beautiful representation of what it actually felt like, as far as I'm concerned, because this was what it felt like for sure. I think they're doing a great job, and I don't know if I'd want to see that. I mean, maybe in the background show pegs filled with certain action figures and things like that. But I don't know. Kudos to that whole team, because they're doing a fantastic job. Robert Morris. Hello, Robert. Did you hear that Joe Pilato died a few days ago? Captain Rose from the... Oh, I know who he is. I've, had the pleasure of being yelled at by Captain Rhodes many a time, meeting him at conventions. Because that's what he would do. He would call everybody, monkeys, Frankenstein, monkey show, all that stuff. He was a great dude, and and Day of the Dead is my favorite Romero zombie film, and he is a powerhouse in that movie. So yes, you know. Robert Hoffman, the sievage is real. Yep, I am. Flage in blood. What did I think of Summer of '84? I didn't think much of it, actually. You know, that's just me. I don't think they hit it. I don't think they nailed it. I think it felt too like a group of people trying to do the '80s. I certainly didn't. It didn't. It just the kids didn't feel like it to me. I don't know. It just didn't. It didn't hit with me. But that's okay. You know, people love it. That's all right. That one just didn't sit well. Gavin, the Dead Reckoning in Land of the Dead. Land of the Dead. I was lucky enough to go to the premiere of Land of the Dead in Pittsburgh during my first honeymoon. I'm on my second marriage, and by God, it's my last marriage. But as a gift from some friends, they got my wife at the time and I tickets into the premiere of Land of the Dead in Pittsburgh. So we were right there with Romero, everybody. That's where I met Quentin Tarantino, Robert Rodriguez, Edgar Wright, and Simon Pegg. We have pictures of the whole event, but it was surreal, man. It was surreal to be there watching Land of the Dead in Pittsburgh with all these filmmakers, all the people who made the movie, with Romero, with zombies everywhere. It was just fantastic. 9. How'd you end up working with so many voluptuous models, both the magazine and body type? Well, as I've said many times before, I am a fan of curvier women, meatier women, women with large natural breasts. I just like women, you know what I'm saying? So I was a, subscriber to Voluptuous. I happen to know a lot of girls around with that body type. And truth be told, it's not like we were setting out to just get, bigger girls in the movies, because I wasn't. It was honestly just anybody who we could get. And for the most part, a lot of those girls, and again, the nudity stuff in my movies, that was never like truly ever written in. It was always the girls who would say, wouldn't it make more sense if we were this or we were that, topless, or we're doing it this way? And I was like, I didn't want to be that guy, but if you are comfortable with doing it, then go ahead. So that's how that stuff happened. But the voluptuous stuff, it ended up just being, well, one, Cherry Brady from Voluptuous, she was a fan of my stuff. She contacted me and said she would do anything to be in the film. So we put her in Filthy McNasty 3. I wrote her a part, the role, and I was like, of course I know who Cherry Brady is. So I was freaking out at the time. This was 2003, when that all happened. And then with Alex Lakehurst, again, it was kind of the same thing. It was, but she was writing for genre magazines because she was a horror fan as well. So she was doing like, not only was she doing the adult actressing, the porn and magazines and all that stuff, but she was writing articles and horror stuff. She was a journalist for that stuff. So I can't remember how Alex and I got connected, but Alex did a couple movies with us. And then Marilyn Mason, I was a fan of. And I just shot her an email one day and was like, hey, I do these movies. I'm doing this particular movie, which was Evil Night. So I probably contacted her late 2013 so that she would come and do Evil Night in 2014. Um, but yeah, so that answers that stuff. Gavin, Close Encounters of the Endowed Kind, indeed. Who Dat Whale? I'm very attracted to thicker women. My fiance herself is thicker. No Q-tip girls here. Long live Christy Canyon. That's right, my brother. Christy Canyon is my favorite adult actress from a very young age, thanks to my uncles. But Christy Canyon is the reason why I love and sought after curvier women, larger women, big-breasted women. I don't like fake boobs. I'm not a fan of that stuff. It's got to be all natural, large. But yeah, Christy Canyon. She goes to this Exotica thing. It's a porn convention every year down in New Jersey, and every year I'm like, I need to go because I just want to meet her. I would love to meet her. So one of these days I'm going to get down there to finally meet her. '09. It's really refreshing to see, very uncommon in most films. Well, yeah, I mean, you know, you got to be a stick. You got to look like a model. Unfortunately. But whatever. Works for them, great. Who Dat? Well, Chris, I love Christy Canyon also, brother. High five. Indeed, high five. She's the best. She's the best. Robert Morris, Day of the Dead is my favorite also. Since Fright Night is your favorite, what did you think of Vamp? One of the favorites from... I love Vamp. I think Vamp is great. Robert Russler. Dee Dee Pfeiffer. Dee Dee Pfeiffer. Yeah, cutie. God damn. I think she's better looking than her sister. And she ain't no dog either. But Dee Dee was great. But yeah, I like Vamp. Vamp's good, man. In fact, for a very long time, I had the Vamp poster in this room. And then something happened where it tore down the side, and it was just basically useless after that. Tis a shame. David, Family Guy versus South Park. Who do you favor? Well, obviously, being the type of person I am, I enjoy both the humor on both shows. And also, truth be told, I haven't watched either of those shows in a very long time. Man, I would say early on, when South Park first aired, those first few years, probably the first 5 years, it was golden. But Family Guy, I don't know, man. I don't know. I think they're both funny. They both appeal to my absurdist humor bug. It's this type of humor that I do and love and enjoy. So I don't know. I like them both. Who Dat Whale? Really love these podcasts you do live. Awesome vibe, my friend. Yeah, I mean they're not even podcasts or vidcasts, I guess. I mean we do these, and all the stuff on the channel is just shows. We just shoot these shows. I edit them, or our new dude Zach, he edits. He's been editing a bunch of this stuff because he's been shooting with his super high quality cameras. But usually it's just me editing down in my game room. But these live shows, yeah, I mean, you know, I like doing them. I like talking to everybody. It's makes me happy, brings me some joy, getting to talk to like-minded folk who I not necessarily would, you know, get a chance to talk to any other way. But I did recently meet Sean. I met Sean Pinkerton at Horror Hound when we were just at Horror Hound promoting and offering the goods to people, and He was great. In fact, I met a lot of great fans at Horror Hound. People, not of just my films over the years, but people who enjoy the channel. So it was great to meet like people from the channel, and even people who show up in this chat when I do from time to time. So it was awesome. It was good. I love it. I love growing this community. Awesome stuff. Oh nine, do you ever have to tone the sex down? Ski Wolf's sex scene seemed like it could have turned full on porn. Um, well, I mean, Alex, she's a porn star. It was actually Alex Lakehurst who said, let's do a little more. When we're doing sex scenes, because they're not like real and passionate and supposed to evoke some sort of sexual response to people, it's never heavy. When I do sex scenes, the only reason I do the sex scenes is for comedy and to see how far I can push that and make people laugh during the sexual act. And that's not even, Ski Wolf is tame compared to what we did in the Blue Cheese Brothers, which is a even grosser and weirder sex scene. But yeah, so when we're doing all that stuff, we're all just goofing. We're just laughing while it's happening. It's, you know. Who Dat Whale, if you don't mind me asking, what future episodes of Crept from the 80s are coming? Well, we've got a Fangoria episode. We've got more toy episodes that we're doing. We're going to do the films of John Carpenter. We're going to do a horror, horror from the 80s that we loved. VHS that we loved. There's a whole bunch. There's 80s video games. It all pertains to stuff that we had a connection to and we loved, and so yeah, it's just gonna keep going, man. It's great. We're gonna do some 90s episodes too. I was a teenager in the 90s and in my early 20s in the 90s, and a lot of stuff, as much as I don't like the 90s, a lot of amazing things happened to me in the 90s, and some very cool things were happening in my life and around me in the 90s, so we're going to be talking about that. So yeah, lots to come. Lots to come. David, one day I'll make it to one of those Horror Hound shows. The horror shows are great, man. The conventions are just fantastic. Clint, I'm here, everyone. No, it's not. Clint Kelly, folks. If you don't know, Clint Kelly in the chat is a full-fledged member of Warlock Home Video LBP. If you've seen, the last 15 of my movies, then you know of Clint Kelly. He's in the movies. He's shot the movies. He's helped me edited the movies. He's color corrected the movies. But Clint is here in the chat. Celebrity Clint Kelly. He's here. 09. Who is Olivia Long? Olivia Young. I thought she was another model, but nope, she's not. She's just a buddy. Just a buddy. Very funny. Very funny woman. Who Dat Whale? That all sounds great. Really looking forward to them. Thank you. Clint Kelly. I've experienced the movies. Yes, Clint has gone through the trenches. He knows. He's gone through not only the trenches, but the tranches as well with us. He knows the ups and downs, the trials and tribulations of making a Chris Seaver movie. And he's coming back to shoot Revengeance. David, how did you and Clint meet each other? At a convention. I believe it was 2010, maybe? I don't know. But it was at a convention, and we were introduced by I don't think much of this guy anymore, but a mutual friend at the time, and we just happened to have the same likes. We loved VHS, we loved SOV, we loved horror, we loved weird shit. And Clint seemed to get who I was and get the humor and understand what I was all about, and you know, and I mean, it was kind of instant, the bonding. So, but he is also one of the, I mean, he is the ultimate betrayer of Chris Seaver. He has betrayed me numerous times and on the most horrible of levels. But he's also a great guy, and I love him, and and he's a part of the team. So yes, it was at Monster Mania in Baltimore. Clint so elegantly has said. Here, hold on, guys. I'm gonna pee real quick. You guys can watch. I'm gonna take you with me. It's gonna be an adventure. But I will leave you with this before I go pee. I'm back. Hold me now. It's hard for me to say I'm sorry. I just want you to know. After all that we've been through, I will make it for you. David asks Clint what has he been working on lately. Well, I can tell you what he hasn't been working on for the last, I don't know, 4 years, 3 years. Any one of my projects. Because he betrayed me. But yes, Clint is Clint is on board Revengeance, which is the film that I'm hoping to make in September, with Billy Garbarina back as our character Deathbone. So we'll see how that turns out. Keep yourself hydrated, folks. Oh, 9. What is my favorite alias to put in the credits? I don't know. I've done so many stupid ones. I don't know. People call me, I mean, fans have called me Crispin Sievage. I don't know, the alias that I use, I mean, any of the stuff that we've used for the Warlock stuff, that's always funny. Yeah, Clint, I mean, I was just going to say, my alias for the Warlock stuff now is Juan Architect, which is a play on John Carpenter. So, yeah. Earlier I was reading my Explorers tie-in movie magazine, reading all about the making of Explorers. I still can't believe people don't know about this movie. I guess some people didn't grow up with it. I certainly did. I always remember the trailers. I remember renting this on VHS for the first time. It's a great movie. Joe Dante. Amblin. Clint asks, what's your favorite Warlock name, period? Um, man, I don't know. There's a lot of stupid ones. Uh, Areola Fangoria was one of them. Um, what else did we do? We did Savannah Ramon. Um, Jeez, what was Clint? What was Rod Bolo skin was? Oh, Clint, you've never seen Explorers? Ah, that's got to be rectified. Uh, what was my name? Rudy. Rudy Belafonte was my other alias. Toby Larone, which is Tobe Larone. um, yeah, all that stuff is fun. Dutch Hogan, Clint's name, Dutch Hogan. Anytime we love to. Our group in general has a, just I don't know. We've been doing it for years, and it just makes us laugh. But we always, when we're all together, it never fails that we we call somebody by, like, we use their, like, if we say Willem Dafoe, we'll say Dillem Wafoe. Things like that. We'll just move the first name and last name letters to sound stupid. Anytime it's like somebody who kind of sort of looks like us, like somebody else in a movie. Like if somebody happened to look like Willem Dafoe, we'd say, "Look, it's Dillem Wafoe," or it's so and so's brother, and we'd come up with some stupid name that kind of sounds like their name. And we've been doing that for years, but I always love doing it. It's goofy, and it's part of the stupid stuff we do together as a group. David, is Meredith or Josh going to be in Revengeance? Neither of them are going to be in Revengeance, unfortunately. Any other regulars? Yeah, there'll be some other people. I'm not gonna 100%. I'm actually not gonna really talk too much about the movie, as I was hoping to just do sort of like a, when it's happening, I'm gonna release some stuff like a surprise, like keep people in the dark until they see what we're, maybe behind the scenes stuff or what we're doing. But yeah. Who Dat Whale? Chris, Chris, you have any Garbage Pail Kids collections? Man, I remember going to my local mini market and buying 4 packs for $1. Of course, I love Garbage Pail Kids. That's still a big part of my life now. I love the movie from 1987. There's like 5 people on the earth that do. Clint is one of them. We share that love. But yeah, and I've gotten my son into collecting Garbage Pail Kids because they still make them, which is fantastic. But the school folder, I had 2 school folders, and I guess it was just the folders, but I could have swore there was a Garbage Pail Kid Trapper Keeper back in the 80s, but I probably just took my Trapper Keeper and filled it with Garbage Pail Kids and put the folders within the Trapper Keeper. But that, I don't know if you can see it over there, but that folder, let's see, in there, down there, is from the 80s. It's hard for me to say I'm sorry. So yes, I love Garbage Pail Kids. 9, does it bother you when people upload your movies to sites? I think Philly Minutes 4 is still on YouTube somewhere. There's nothing I can do about it. Again, and some of those are even sanctioned by the distributors that put the movies out. So what do you do? I mean, it's just, I mean, if somebody cares that much, cool. It's a way for people to see some of those movies. But as I've said, I've made so many movies that there's a lot of movies out there that people don't even won't have the opportunity to put out. And I am the only person who owns them. So huzzah for me. But whatever. People are seeing them. I guess that's good. Nothing I can do. Who that whale? 6 and 7 over here. Me and my 4-year-old love it. Alligator. Hell yeah. Um, yeah, Tom. Like, you gotta watch more videos so you know what everything is going on in here. Yeah. I try to contain all of the 80s stuff that I love in here. Um, but there's some that trickles down into the rest of the house and down into the theater room and things like that. But for the most part, and this is like, I mean, this was our guest room, and it's been so many other things. But it always kind of goes back to being another room to fill all my geeky stuff in. Um, but I love coming in here because it's a time machine, really, you know. And again, for the most part, this is all stuff. I'm not a big. I don't. Just because it's from the 80s doesn't mean I want it. You know what I mean? Just because I lived it doesn't mean I want it. What I want are the things that I had. That brings me that connection. When there's things that are still carded or still in boxes, that gives me that love and excitement and thrill of going into a Hills or a KB's or an Ames, what have you, and seeing those toy shelves in the 80s. And because that's the first thing you saw, you know? So having that in here as well, that's a big part of it. I'm not just an 80s stuff in general collector. It all has to be stuff that meant something to me, the franchise, whatever it is, the franchise, the toy line, the cartoon, the TV show, whatever. The things that I loved, that's what I want back in my collection, you know? And then, of course, there's things that I certainly wanted within those franchises that I would like to add to the collection. But, like I don't want a fucking Sports Illustrated football phone, you know? Even though it was very prominent in the 80s, I didn't have it, so I don't want it. This is just all shit that is me, that is Chris, you know? So. Tom, yes, I know. I know you were doing your homework, so I'm just giving you shit. Who Dat Whale, love those Garbage Pail Kids folders. Hell yeah. 09, do you own the Haunted Mailman figure from Ghostbusters? I do not. I'm slowly collecting my real Ghostbusters stuff. And thank you to all the people who have helped me recollect that. Like I said, most recently, Sean has been helping me. Of course, Brandon Bennett helped me a huge deal with all that. Clint, Zap meets Dr. Alien. Well, we got to do that, right? I got to write a movie. I want to do it. But I can add all that stuff in the other movie that you know about that I haven't told anybody about yet, other than The Gang. Which you know what I'm talking about, the sex comedy. Which, if all goes well, and Revengeance actually happens, that's what we'll do after that. But also, Clint and I wrote a script many years ago now. Jesus. It's like 4 years ago now. It's going to be 5 years next year. Anyway, we wrote a script that we really, really love. It is languishing in purgatory right now. Limbo. I wish we could make it. It would cost some money. If we had money, we would probably submit it into, you know, festivals and stuff like that. Script for people to check out the script, all that stuff. But that is languishing. It is very unfortunate. But you got to keep going, man. You know, as much as I want to give up all the time, got to keep pushing forward with the creativity and Revengeance and this other thing. Hopefully, that helps. So, yeah. Cream cheese is made of me. Clint says, anyone in chat have some serious money? Help us out here. If you love movies like Ernest Scared Stupid and Little Monsters, you'll love our script. Yeah. Well, right now I need money just to make Revengeance. And it's not a lot of money, but even that is tough. Like, you know, it's tough to make movies. It's even the shitty movies that I make. You can't, the stuff we do, you just can't do it for nothing anymore. It sucks. It sucks. Yeah. 09, do I enjoy highbrow arty directors like Lynch, Jodorowsky? I don't. I like Twin Peaks. I thought that was dope, but I'm not a... That doesn't really do much for me. My tastes are so... They are... I know exactly what I like. And that is genre stuff. I can't... Like, I don't do dramas. I love horror. I love science fiction. I love fantasy. You know, I love ridiculous action movies. And I love absurd comedy. I don't like seeing movies. I've said this so many times, but I don't like movies that are just real life, but on the big screen. Like, that doesn't appeal to me. It's got to have some form of oddness to it for me to kind of glom onto it and enjoy it. And certainly the artsy stuff, it's not, you know, that's great. Film is an expression of all sorts of people's creativity and imagination, and mine, I just know what I like. I know my wheelhouse. And that stuff just doesn't appeal to me. You know? There's enough people out there that love and enjoy that stuff. I'm just not one of them. I'm going to be seeing Clint soon, actually. While I do wish that I could see Clint more often, and I wish he would come out here so we could actually work on some stuff together, I am going to see him at the end of next month when I'm out in Orlando. Yay! When I'm right on, have you ever seen TerraVision? I love TerraVision. That Blu-ray is phenomenal from Scream Factory. Yes, TerraVision. That's my kind of movie. What would I say is the greatest modern horror movie? Ooh. Man. Modern as in like the last 10 years or in the 90s or early 2000s? I don't know, because I'm not a big modern horror fan. There's stuff that I love. Like, I love The Conjuring. I love the James Wan stuff. That stuff has really appealed to me. I like the Insidious movies. Happy Death Day 1 and 2 are just phenomenal. But they're not, I mean, certainly number 2 is not like a horror movie, but yeah, I mean, I loved Stephen King's, I loved the new It. I thought that was fantastic. Yeah, I don't know. You know, it's funny. I always go back to 80s or early 90s horror. They don't make them like they used to, man. And I think that's why I liked Happy Death Day. And more so Happy Death Day 2U, the sequel, even more. It's because it incorporated some crazy ass shit that really pulled on the nostalgia strings and was a type of movie that they made back in the day, and I appreciate that. So I don't know. But I can also be very picky. It's weird. I'm a weird dude, man. Like, you would think of certainly the movies that I make and the stuff that I enjoy, that I would like certain things, and I just, you know, I just don't. I'm very picky. I don't know. Ooh. Yeah, Clint got it right there. Trick or Treat. That movie is a modern masterpiece as far as I'm concerned. Shot in 2007, came out finally in 2009, but Trick or Treat, goddamn modern classic. 90s, one of the greatest films as far as I'm concerned is From Dusk Till Dawn. Totally agree. David, I didn't enjoy Happy Death Day to You as much as the first one. Oh, that sucks, man. I fucking loved it. Have I seen Us yet? I have not seen Us yet. I thought Get Out was fine, you know, but I do want to see Us. Uh, Dude, they don't make a lot of things like they used to. Movies, cartoons, toys, TV shows. I could go on and on. That's 100% true. They just don't, unfortunately. But they do make a lot of stuff that I fully enjoy in the modern age. As I've said many times, we are living in a golden age of geekdom, folks. We really are. Um, but we wouldn't have that stuff if it weren't for what came before, really. And certainly, we're living in an age where we're constantly aping the 80s anyway, so. Oh nine, what's my favorite ska band? Well, my favorite band of all time that played ska but wouldn't be considered a ska band is Oingo Boingo. That's my favorite band of all time. But my favorite ska band, man, I love the Planet Smashers. I love the Siren Six. Used to be really into the Toasters. I like Madness. Early Madness, because the stuff they do more isn't quite Sky anymore. They do some still. Yeah, there's a lot. Skink and Pickle. The specials were fantastic. Well, their new album, I gotta listen to it. I gotta listen to their album. New ska. The Interrupters are kick ass. Real Big Fish is still going, but again, because of my uncles, because of my mom, the people that I was growing up with, and the stuff that they were getting me into, I had known ska for a very long time. Of course, Oingo Boingo growing up in the 80s, but hearing that. But again, my family and the relatives, they would listen to Fishbone and things like that. My uncle was in a ska band. One of my first records I ever got was Madness that my mom got for me. And then in 1995, I started a ska band called the Swanky Modes, based off of one of the fake bands in one of my favorite films of all time, Tapeheads. And then, 96, 97, there was that ska boom and all that stuff. But, so, I've loved the music for a very long time. Laugh-O-Grams. When we were kids, our parents complained that things used to be better, but now that our generation is in charge, we don't complain. We bring shit back. For the most part. I mean, there's, yeah. I wish there were more people like me who, in their 40s, who adored the 80s, who adored their childhood, that were in more power positions. My God, Adam Goldberg, who turned his childhood into a fucking career. Kudos, man. Who Dat Whale? Chris, I love the movie National Lampoon's Class Reunion. Ever seen it? Just a great cheesy movie. Yeah, I've seen it. It's not the best National Lampoon movie, but I've seen it. Clint, what's the last absolute garbage movie I watched? Uh, Well, Critters: A New Binge was almost there. But I hated, as you know, I hated that Puppet Master reboot, remake, or whatever the hell. I hated it. I just thought it was awful. Make America 80s again, man. Well, again, you know, some of us folk have never let it go. We're still keeping it alive, keeping that time machine going. Clint, mindless frightmares from the Falcon. Mm. Mm-hmm. Who that will? No, definitely not. It draws me in. I mess up, but it draws me in. Oh nine. Have I seen Leprechaun Returns? I have not, but I want to. I enjoy the Leprechaun franchise. In fact, I really love 1, 2, and 3 a lot, actually. That set, that that Blu-ray set is pretty fantastic because not only are you getting all the movies widescreen, 1080p, but you're getting all the extras, and they have extras for all of those Leprechaun movies. But I do want to see Leprechaun Returns. I was bummed that Warwick Davis wasn't Leprechaun again. Um, Bummed me out that he didn't come back to the role, but whatever. Clint, absolutely love Leprechaun 3. Hell yeah, man. Brian Trenchard Smith, brother. Night of the Demons 2. Mwah. And Brian Trenchard Smith, like mixed. He was, he was putting actors from either of the films in both movies. It was great. He has a very fun, off kilter sensibility, that Australian man. He's great. Thank you guys for sticking around, chatting with me. It's awesome. Glad you're still here. Clint, I do remember that. Actually, every time I watch Night of the Demons now, I think back to you complaining about how it looks too good to watch. I'm sorry, brother. That's a shame. But I love it. I love it because the scraping is they barely did any of that stuff. The digital noise reduction, DNR, they didn't really do much to that. So the grain is still there. I don't know. I think it just pops. I like it. Oh nine, are you happy Joe Bob is coming back? Absolutely. Absolutely. Loved Monster Vision, man. Joe Bob is great. Excited. Now, if only we could get Rhonda Shear back for Up All Night. David, yeah, man. Shudder is becoming something that is worthy. For Joe Bob, for the Creep Show TV show that's coming. Uh, Lots of people absolutely loved Critters: A New Binge. I was entertained, but overall was kind of meh on it. But what I'm saying is they're becoming viable, and they're bringing some cool, very cool stuff to that channel, making it worthy. Tom, I hear you, man. I hear you. Do I care anything about Japanese cinema? I like some stuff, but I don't readily, or I don't seek it out. If it happens to, catch my radar, then I'll give certain movies a shot. Back in the early '90s, early to mid '90s, I was super into Hong Kong action, the early John Woo stuff. Who else did I love? Sui Hark, I liked. Any of those early Jet Li movies, Fist of Legend, all that stuff. Um, yeah, but I loved The Killer, loved Hard Boiled, big time. As I've said before, I used to constantly order from this catalog called Blackest Heart Media, and I would get so many import VHS in the '90s from this place, all uncut. You know, loved that magazine, that catalog. Same with Film Threat. And like early '90s. Well, I guess '94. I really liked anime. I was big into Akira because it was just coming out big time in the States on VHS. So I was really enjoying Akira, Vampire Hunter D, Fist of the North Star, all that stuff. David, what would you love to see Shudder bring back if you had the magical powers of persuasion? Bring back? I don't know. I don't know. If I had any sort of sway, magical powers, I would, as far as the horror genre is concerned, I would magically make everybody fucking get off their asses and give us another Friday the 13th movie. You know? Boggles my mind. Clint, I'm going to grab a few Tempe flicks and JR's book before Tempe is gone forever. Absolutely, brother. In fact, I've been talking to JR. Oh, I'm doing a fans. I know a lot of old school fans already have these movies, all four of the Filthy McNasty movies. But, and I don't even know if I can say this yet, but I guess it's fine. But Tempe is going to be putting out a Blu-ray of all of the Filthy McNasty movies with brand new audio commentaries that I'm doing, and we already shot a mini documentary about like a retrospective about my making of all four of those movies. So that's coming. But I've been in cahoots with JR for a very long time. It's sad that Tempe's going. I'm going to be making a video specifically about Tempe, what it means to me, what it meant to me growing up, what shot on video meant to me growing up, what a lot of those filmmakers meant to me growing up. I've been doing a very specific video about that stuff. I'm calling it my first 10 years of movie making back in the late 80s and early 90s, when that stuff was really like affecting me and inspiring me. I plan on doing that. So I have been talking to JR frequently. Clint, you have more Tempe movies than JR does made. Yeah, he actually yesterday he said the exact same thing. He said, you know, Chris, you have more movies through my label than I do. David, does Tempe tell you how well your movies are selling? No, absolutely not. No distribution place has ever told me how much my stuff has sold, how many cases, how many numbers went through. I don't know. I've always been kept in the dark. That's just the way it is. There was one moment where I did find out about a movie and about how much that particular company was making off that movie, and it was disgusting, and it made me very upset and sad because I wasn't a part of that, even though it was my movie. But anyway, that was moons ago. Clint, yeah, we've definitely heard rumblings. That's what I was alluding to of how well things have sold. Oh 09, where does the character Jock de Queef come from? Facts. Truth. Truth be told. There is a video. I have kept a lot of videos through my childhood growing up, late 80s into the 90s. And in 1992, there is a video of me and my friends and my mom doing a goofy late night host skit. And my name in the skit, I just said, while we were shooting, I said my name in a accent. I said, Jacques de Queef. Since 1992, Jacques de Queef has just been a part of my vocabulary. And sometime while doing low budget pictures, I just named a character Jacques de Queef. And really early on, it wasn't even a full-fledged character. It was just because I did everything. I wrote, directed, edited, shot all the movies I was making. I just came up with other names, so it just wasn't constantly Chris Seaver doing all these things. And Jacques de Queef was just, so he ended up being the cinematographer and the editor and all these things. So that is a fact. If you could make it happen, is there any one of your films that you'd like to see a toy line for? A toy line? What would lend itself to a toy line? I guess Deathbone, the fantasy movie Deathbone, because Deathbone has been in a bunch of other movies that I've done. The character of Deathbone that myself and Billy created. But that was the first Deathbone, was like a full-fledged, like, you know, shitty low-budget fantasy movie. So characters from that I could see have, like, you know, He-Man style toys. Maybe some of the Bone Jack High kids. Death-O-Lantern should have, like, you know, a Stingy Jack action figure. That would be cool. Yeah, that stuff. I guess Teen Ape and Bone Jack. Everyone is going to say Teen Ape and Bone Jack. You know. There's been stuff made before. A fan made a doll of Teen Ape and Bone Jack before, like a full-fledged doll. And a fan made 2 baby versions of Teen Ape and Bone Jack. And they were beautiful, sculpted, real toys, baby dolls of Teen Ape and Bone Jack. And they were amazing. And they came with, like, birth certificates and everything. It was fantastic. Hello, Gookie Gang. Hello. Dropping by randomly. Clint Kelly, Moist Fury toy line. No thanks. 09. What's my favorite trauma film? Class of Nukem High, for sure. Chris Tansky, a Crept from the 80s toy. Yeah, me and you and Casey in toy form. Oh, the hours upon hours of children playing with ooh, Crept from the 80s toys. You'll get yours, Tansky. Here, let's sit down on this fake chair and let's talk about 80s stuff. Grookey, yes, I do. I make comedy horror films and have been making them for 28 years, but I love the 80s. I'm a 40-something man-child that loves geeky stuff. I love collecting the stuff that I had in the 80s. I love 80s everything, movies, toys, memorabilia, all that stuff. I love comic books and horror and science fiction and fantasy. So I have a show on here on the channel, and we do all these shows about all this shit that I like. But yes, I make low-budget comedy horror films for the last 28 years. Chris, yes, anatomically correct. Clint, my top 5 favorite sievage is Blue Cheese Brothers, Moist Fury, Stoinky Beach, Death o' Lantern, and House on Bonejack Hill. That's a solid little... That's good. That's good. You don't like the Weirdsies, huh? That's alright. Grookey gang. So, if you had to choose between teleportation or shapeshifting, which would you pick? Teleportation. I would teleport myself back to the 80s. Or I'd shapeshift myself into Christie Canyon and play for weeks and weeks with my large, voluptuous breasts. Also love Karaoke Kid, Geek War, Evil Knight, The Weirdsies. Okay, there you go. Chris Tansky, Weirdsies all day. Well, Tansky, you got to see more of my movies. You haven't seen like a... But I would agree, The Weirdsies is the best. So you have picked the best out of all of them for sure. But I think there's some that I think a Mr. Tansky would enjoy. Tansky, yes, you need to be in the movie. Well, come be in Revengeance when we shoot in September. Favorite John Carpenter film, excluding Halloween. That's easy. The Thing. I love The Thing. But I love In the Mouth of Madness. There's too many. I'm going to do a whole Crept from the 80s episode on John Carpenter because he's my favorite horror director of all time. Well, Grookey, then I wouldn't do any of that. Or maybe if I could teleport onto the set of some of the crazy movies that I want to see being made, like Endgame or Episode 9. Teleport me to those sets. If I was an animal, I'd be a puma. 09, is there a place where Weirdsies is streaming? No, there is not. There's a bunch. I mean, again, like I said, only 28 of my movies are out there worldwide. The rest you got to get through me, and The Weirdsies is one of them. Chris, well, I keep waiting. That's why I haven't done it yet, Mr. Tansky. I haven't done the Fangoria episode. I haven't done the John Carpenter episode because I'm waiting for you. We haven't done the second toy episode either. We got to bring Ruby on because we got to talk about those female toys as well. We got to talk about She-Ra. We got to talk about all that stuff. Bring in the female perspective. Who dat whale? Chris, I gotta go. Rest up, brother. I got work tonight. Always a pleasure. Have a great night, my friend. Thank you, Who Dat Whale, for showing up. Thank you for your kind words recently. Who Dat Whale has sent me some very kind emails and messages, and very humbled, very humbled. So thank you. Tansky, life will be back to normal after Saturday. But will it ever be back to normal? Tansky, will it? Clint Kelly, 09, definitely hit up Chris for a copy of The Weirdsies. It's great stuff. He ain't lying, brother. Clint knows what he's talking about. Clint shot The Weirdsies as well. Good night, Who Dat Whale. Good night. Good night. I mean, come on, guys. Look at little River Phoenix. God. It's a great movie. Clint, next time you're here, we gotta watch Explorers. I can't believe you haven't seen that movie. I think the kid inside you will appreciate it. Clint, yes, The Weirdsies has the toughest shot I've ever had to do in it, that bowling alley crane into Dolly. That was a collaboration between Clint and I that was thought up and then taken one step further, and we had to get it right. We did it many, many times. I don't even know if people notice it. Maybe they do. I don't know. If you watch the opening of The Weirdsies in the bowling, the very first time you see the bowling alley, check out that shot. Yeah, oh nine. You can reach me at warlockhomevideo@gmail.com. That's my email. You can talk to me through there. Robert, you need to do a Nightmare on Elm Street episode on Crept from the '80s. Also, I loved your '89 episode. Thank you. We're gonna be doing '80s horror and what it meant to us and the stuff that we love so much. The '80s horror we love so much. Um, there absolutely, I think, will be themed episodes like Nightmare, like Friday. There's certain franchises that deserve their own episodes. And the Friday and Nightmare franchises are my two favorite franchises of all time. So they definitely mean something to me. Um, yeah, David, gonna email you about getting that Blu-ray screener Death of Lantern remake to add to my Savage collection. Yeah, just send me the address. You know, you know what to do. 09, is your IMDb page just made to be confusing? That, truth be told, I have nothing to do with that IMDb page. I would rather it not even be there. I wish it wasn't there. I have never put any of my stuff up there. Maybe like back in the early 2000s I did, but after that I just stopped. I don't even go to IMDb at all for anything really. So anything that's up there, I don't know. I wouldn't trust anything that's up there. Um, if you ever want to know anything, just talk to me personally. But that, I mean, a lot of that stuff, again, I haven't even seen it in a long time, so I don't know who's made up what or who puts that shit up there. But I wish it, I don't know. I just wish it was all gone. Clint, David, hope you like it. We think it's pretty dumb, but has some very funny stuff in it. It looks wonderful too. I think the only person in the chat, and I don't even know if Sean is still here, but I think Sean Pinkerton is the only person that I know in the chat that has Death of Lantern the remake. And he liked it, but I think he agrees it's dumb. David thinks Clint. I'm sure I'll love it. I even like Quest for the Egg Salad. Sean. Yeah, see, there you go. Sean. Sean loved it. It's a pretty strong word, but he got some enjoyment out of it. I'll say this, Death of Lantern the remake is better than Quest for the Egg Salad. That's for sure. Thanks, guys, for sticking around. I'll stay on up to about another hour or so, and that's about it. Oh, and what's the requirements for a Seavers picture? Money and whatnot? Elaborate, I guess. Oh, nine. Clint, Quest or Monster Nazi, Chris, if you had to rewatch one. Uh, I, I gotta say, I'd watch Monster Nazi Apocalypse because I did write some very funny stuff in that movie. It just ultimately, it is one of my least favorite experiences I've ever had. But it's way funnier than Quest for the Egg Salad. That's for damn sure. In the sky, full skin, yeah. It can depend. Oh nine, what's your usual budget with these films? You know, we've had, again, thanks to family or fans, we've had upwards of 6,000 to make a movie, and we've had $100 to make a movie. You know, um, yeah, certainly my stuff. It's just would I love to have a bigger budget? Would I love to have more time? Certainly, you know, especially. I mean, like I said, we only shoot a movie in 2 to 3 days, and we never really make any money off of this stuff. It costs more money than to make some of these movies than I have ever seen from the movies. That's for sure. Um, uh, I don't know. I mean, I think we'd be able to do a lot with you know, well, I don't know. I mean, 15, 20,000 would be like astronomical for something like a Chris Seaver movie. I mean, you know, we imagine the stuff we could do with that. You know, I don't know. I know what I need for Revengeance. Do I think we're gonna get that? No, no, I don't. So Revengeance is, it'll probably suffer a little bit from it, but again, you know, we're really not gonna make anything off of that anyway. So it's just more about having the passion and the yearning and the power and the drive to do it, to stay creative and to keep doing it. And that's something that I struggle with all the time is, do I want to keep doing these? I don't know. You know, I haven't made a movie in 3 years. A lot of it has to do with Clint, but um, I don't know. We'll see. Maybe Revengeance sparks some more flames under my taint. I don't know. Dave, what do you think about Full Moon lately? And there, I don't think much about Full Moon, unfortunately, because I love Full Moon, and in fact, I'm going to be doing a Full Moon episode of Crept from the '80s, but I'm waiting for Bobby Heckman. Old Full Moon, you know, 89 to like 95, 96, even 98 actually, because I really dug The Dead Hate the Living. But that time period, the heyday of Full Moon, I love, absolutely love. Newer Full Moon, I just don't like, man. They are. I mean, I would love to have the budgets that they have to make their movies, because we would actually make some really fucking entertaining films. But they are just piss poor. Not a fan. I actually enjoyed. It was a couple years ago. They did something called Trophy Heads, and that actually was decent. I mean, location wise and where they were shooting and how it looked, not so much. But I mean, I'm talking like story and what was happening. You know, the Scream Queens were doing a pretty decent job, and but no, I hate all that shit. The Evil Bongs and the Ginger Dead Mans and the newer Puppet Master shit. Absolutely not. I miss the heyday, man. Clint Kelly, at one point after we made a very successful movie for a company, they offered us like $200 to make a giant kaiju style monster film. Chris declined. What a joke. That is true. That is true. Yeah, I mean, and that has happened. That's part of the reason why I don't make movies for anybody anymore. You know, it's just like, it's just, is it worth all that time and effort to not really get paid for doing what you love and for putting that time and effort into it? You know, fuck that. David, oh man, can't tease and not tell us what movie it was. No, we don't have to say anything. What movie got you into straight to video genre? Well, I was renting it. it was readily available at Video Connection growing up. And again, I am going to be doing a whole video just on this subject, what got me into movie making, what SOV and the SOV filmmakers got me into movie making, and the first 10 years of me making movies. I'm going to do that video. But I mean, the early stuff that was like blowing my mind as far as seeing stuff shot on video and feeling like this is exactly where I'm destined to go. Probably was a Book Walter movie, or Dave Dakota, Redneck Zombies for sure, but all that stuff was there. I mean, you could rent Tom Savini's The Ripper. You could rent Sledgehammer, which Clint owns, by the way. Clint owns the SOV classic Sledgehammer. But that stuff I was renting and just being like holy shit, you know. Clint, yours was Splatter Farm. Crazy, right? Some Polonia action. Whew. David. Well, Dave Dakota, yeah. I mean, listen, he's making, you know, those types of movies that he's making. But he's also, I mean, he's much more of a versatile guy than I am, even though they kind of have the cheapness and the same style. He'll dip his toes into family movies, Christmas movies, you know, his erotica, all that stuff. So he's you know, he's a filmmaker. I'm very specific in what I like to do and what I'm going to continue to do, maybe, hopefully. Well, yeah, Clint. I mean, listen, it's all just it's a paycheck thing now. You know, these guys aren't doing these passion projects anymore. Unfortunately, you know, if they were putting real effort into it, then you would see it. You would notice it. If Charles Band was putting effort into the shit that he was doing, you would notice it. If Dave Dakota was putting effort into it, you would notice it. You know, but they're not. You know, it's just, let's make money to keep us afloat. That's a shame. It's funny coming from me, but it's more important for me to make sure that it's a Chris Seaver movie than it is that I'm going to make money off of it, because I know I'm not going to make any money off of anything that I do. So it has to be something that, you know, and I certainly did those, as low budget as my shit was. I certainly did those projects that was like, well, it's rent. I have to do it for rent. And there's so many of those crappy movies I did just so I could like have rent, you know. But after a while, I was like, you know, fuck this. I want to make the movies I want to make, and if they don't make money, if I don't get money to make them, then oh well. But at least I made them. You know, look at the Weirdsies. That was a passion thing I wanted to do. Geek War. Look at that. Like nobody wanted them. You know, Geek War took 4 years for anybody to actually say, you know what, I'll put it out. You know, the Weirdsies, nobody put it out. We're the only I'm the only person that, you know, it's the only way you can get it. But I love it, and I put myself into it, and you know, usually the things that I find really funny, really hilarious, the stuff that is like hitting me on a different level than some of the normal shit I do, that's the stuff that's gonna last for not only people but for me, and the stuff I'm gonna be thinking about, and the stuff I'm, even as dumb as my stuff is, that I'm gonna be proud of, you know. So. You ever watch those passionless films for inspiration so heartless you want to show them how it could be done? Not really. No, because like, who am I? My stuff is you can't go around and be like, this is how you do it, and then show a Chris Seaver movie. That's just, you know, I know what I make. I know the types of films that I do, that I enjoy, the audience that's going to enjoy them. You know, I'm not trying to stray. I'm not trying to reinvent any wheel. I'm just trying to make a Chris Seaver movie the way that I know how. And people can like it or not like it. There's no competition. There is no competition. you know, there's a million other filmmakers that are better than me and are, know how to actually make a film. I suppose like there's people out there that like I know that personally for me I've watched some of their stuff and I'm like, oof, this stuff is fucking terrible. How do you have how are you where you are, or how do you have the deals that you have when your movies are just so fucking generic? That can bug me, just because we've been doing this for so long and we're still just languishing. Nobody really knows who we are. Zero money. I'm broke. You know what I mean? Like, that can get to you. But in the end, I guess, what does it really matter? I care more now. I just want to be happy. I want to not be depressed. I want to have joy in my life. So, you know, whatever. Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa! Oh man, my agua is gone. Mm. The earliest film I found out there was Blood Fart Lake. Is there any earlier film out where everyone can see? I mean, there's a lot of early Sievage out there. Um, Far earlier than Blood Fart Lake. Sorry, is this still going, guys? I can't tell. This is it still going? Because this is, I can't read anything if you're typing anything. This is something's going on here with the YouTube. So I can't read your messages. Let's see. David, the Sievage needs his Clint in his life. Clint, no, I don't like Batteries Not Included. I don't like Batteries Not Included, but I'm sure people love that movie. David, I mean, you're not wrong. I do. I mean, I'm not even joking, and I've talked to Clint about this stuff. There's still a little resentment in my heart um, about some things that happened, and Clint was my right hand man, yes, and then he moved, and you know, there is truth in when I say the reason I haven't made a movie in 3 years is because of Clint. There's some truth into that. It's not 100% all Clint, but there's some truth in it. Listen, I do. I wish, things were going good and things were moving along and things were. I was very motivated and things, and there would have been more movies, I think, if things didn't go down the way they went. But what do you do? That is the past. You just got to try to move on and like I said, we're gonna hopefully get back in the saddle this year, and it'll be Clint and me and most of the gang, and we're gonna, you know, bring my stupidity to life once again. So we'll see. We'll see. Purple monkey dishwasher. Absolutely. Absolutely. Man, this is good. Gotta get that. Look at this crew. Clint, if you liked our script for Treat or Trick, you're gonna love Explorers. There's some great stuff in there. You might actually recognize some stuff after seeing Explorers. Some little nostalgic pokes in Treat or Trick. That's from Explorers. Clint, I love Chris no matter what. I've never bonded with a friend so quickly. Deep down, he knows my love is pure. But it could always be purer. Tom, I just suck my dick. Yep. You guys want to see something wild? I think my cool factor will go up tenfold when you see this. You may all know my love of Parker Lewis Can't Lose. Well, this was about 15 years ago when I met Corin Nemec, and he signed this loving tribute to me. Coolness, Parker Lewis Can't Lose. Corin, he was a great guy. I was able to cream all over him about my love of Parker Lewis Can't Lose. That was random. Also got Mark Singer in here for some Beastmaster action, some V action. David, favorite Mick Garris film? Critters 2. For sure. Hands down. Critters 2. But I like Sleepwalkers. Lots of people don't like that movie. I dig it. I dig it a lot. Clint Kelly, I told some people the suck my dick thing that you do when you're talking to people. People I told it to kept saying it the whole rest of the day. Well, you know, I'm a trendsetter, you know. Tom, well, now you know. And knowing is half the battle. I hope you enjoyed it. Keep looking into it because it's a fantastic show. Man, this has been a good one this week, guys. Thank you for showing up. At one point, we had a nice number of people in here. It was rad. I guess that can happen when I don't do it every week, but I do it like, you know, every 3 weeks or every month. But it's good. It's always a great feeling to be able to come in here and to talk with all you like-minded folks. It's pretty awesome. And I mean, not only am I seeing Clint, but I might be seeing you, Tom. I might be seeing you, depending on if we can schedule a time and hook up. David, we're ride or die with you, Chris. Thank you. Not all fans are as loyal. You know. It's great to have new fans, you know, growing because of the channel and everything. You know, people who watch the channel, they figure out about the movies and they want to know more about the movies, watch the movies, become a fan. Like I said, it was great to be at Horror Hound and to meet so many fans of LBP and of the channel. It was so cool, so cool. I mean, I had some people come up that were LBP fans from like, geez, almost 20 years ago, and it was great. And they like brought me like VHS stuff to sign from our old VHS stuff that we had back then. It was cool, man. I love that stuff. And that show, again, we hadn't done a convention in 3 or 4 years, and doing this Horror Hound was really like a wow, man. Like it was good. It was very cool to see that we were still sort of relevant. And the new people that were coming up and just being like, what is this stuff, you know? Great. Yes, Clint. Tom is in Orlando. He works at Disney. And Clint, we'll commiserate and talk before, you know, so we know which day we're gonna hook up. What is my favorite Ernest movie? My favorite Ernest movie is Ernest Saves Christmas. Then it's Ernest Scared Stupid. Then Ernest Goes to Jail. Then Ernest Goes to Camp. I think the first four, Camp, Saves Christmas, Goes to Jail, and Scared Stupid, are the best Ernest films. I consider them the only Ernest films, even though there's 8 Ernest films altogether. But oh, there's like 9. I think there's 9 Ernest films. I can't stand. I saw Ernest Rides Again in the theater. I saw all the Ernest movies in the theater, and it was because of the rural area where we were. We always got all those Ernest commercials in the '80s growing up, which was fantastic. So we knew about Ernest. I knew about Ernest from a very early age, and I love Ernest. I love Jim Varney. Um, I kind of like. There's elements I like to Ernest Goes to School, and that was the last movie that was going to be theatrical, but it was pulled and went straight to video because after Ernest Rides Again tanked, they pulled Ernest Goes to School, which was going to be the next theatrical Ernest movie. And there was a trailer for Ernest Goes to School right after Ernest Rides Again, like after the credits. Um, but yeah, man. Rest in peace, always. Jim Varney. Love Disney, guys. Yeah, again, there's elements of Slam Dunk that we laughed at. Yeah, Clint is also a fellow Ernest fan. Me, Clint, Andrew, and Alec, the part of the group, when we get together, we laugh a lot and we watch a lot of stupid shit. But we we've watched a lot of Ernest together. We've talked about Ernest. You know, that's also a bonding thing with all of us. Oh, I know all about Ernest Saves Christmas, my friend. I know. You can see it. That's something I can talk about. You know, I've talked a little bit about it in the video between my wife and I, and we're gonna do another one. I think she's gonna be on the video game episode too. But so growing up, I definitely early on, I would say, like when I was 4 or 5, that was like, you know, geez, early '80s. Of course, I liked Disney. You know, the family took me to see Disney movies. We would have revival screenings in Wellsville. They would show Snow White. They would show Peter Pan, Dumbo, all that stuff. In the early '80s, and I guess, uh, you know, I've been told over the years that and I've been shown, but when I was very young, um, I would draw the Seven Dwarfs a lot. I was really big into Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs and all this stuff. But growing up, and then certainly when the big wave of Disney was happening in late '89 with Little Mermaid, and then into the '90s, Disney just wasn't a. I didn't like Disney movies. That wasn't something that I gravitated towards. As far as cartoons were concerned, in '86, '87, when DuckTales was getting big, starting in '86 and then getting big, I loved DuckTales. Um, you know, that's when I was like 9, 10, 11 years old. Uh, but I didn't get into the other Disney stuff. I loved the Ichabod Crane cartoon because they would play that every Halloween, so that was great. Um, you know, the Disney Sleepy Hollow was fun. And I loved Mickey's Christmas Carol. But as far as Disney as a whole, Disney, all the Disney movies, certainly the glut, the big resurgence in the '90s of all the new Disney stuff, I didn't. That wasn't something I cared about. I just didn't give a shit. Um, wasn't for me. And I certainly was watching cartoons and enjoying. You know, I've always been a big kid. Even when it was happening, I just was a kid. You know, teen, I was a kid. Into my 20s, I was a kid. Doesn't matter. I'm in my 40s, I'm a fucking kid. So I never had like a desire for Disney whatsoever. Even throughout the years, thinking about going to Disney, it just didn't appeal to me. You know, hearing about all these families or friends that would go off to Disney World or whatever, I was just like, so what? You know? And then in 2015, I was far more into going to Universal. That was my jam. That was like, oh, I want to go to Universal Studios because that's what appealed to me, you know? So I'm getting married to my second wife. I'm getting married, and our honeymoon, we decide we're going to go not only to Star Wars Celebration 2015, because it was the resurgence of Star Wars. It was coming back. It was a big deal, and we're huge Star Wars fans. But we were also going to do, so first half of our honeymoon was in Anaheim for Star Wars Celebration, and then the second half was Orlando. And so that Katie could take me to Disney World and Universal and all that stuff. And I was super excited about Universal, of course, but I just didn't give a shit about Disney. I was like, you know, it was our wedding, so I felt like, well, she's got to get that Disney magic in there. This is her wedding, you know. It's her honeymoon. Of course, we're gonna go to Disney. Make her smile, make her happy. Happy wife, happy life. You know what I'm saying? But then I got there, and it all changed. I was entranced, mesmerized. I fell in love with Disney. I fell in love with Epcot, the parks, you know? I was just like, holy shit. And it just reinforced that cliche of the happiest place on earth. I was so happy. And since 2015, I have been like truly like obsessed with Disney World. I absolutely love it. And we've been back every year. And then last year, I also got to go to Disneyland and Universal out there in LA. I wasn't impressed with Disneyland. While we fucking loved the rides. We were just like, woo! Because we did some rides that weren't in Disney World. That Indiana Jones ride in Disneyland like blew me away. I was on cloud nine. But overall, Disneyland didn't impress me, and I hated, because it's smaller, the crowds are far more intense. It just was like a nightmare to get around. But so we're going back to Disney at the end of April, and I am like giddy. We're counting down the days. We just cannot wait We're going for 5 days. And then we'll go again, maybe not next year, but we'll go again in 2021. I would love to go next year, but it's expensive. And I basically paid for all of this year, this time to go. But we want to go for Star Wars Land. We want to take River, my son, back. We want to take him. So he'll be like 13, 14 when we go back. But anyway, I'm just rambling on about Disney. I'm sorry I went off on that tangent, but we're going. I wanted to give you a little insight into how you can be one way and then experience something and have your whole point of view changed. And that's what Disney World did for me, and now I can't get enough of it. Absolutely love it. Oh 09, have you ever watched Beesbo? Sorry guys, I'm now getting to the questions. Laughing Grams, of course you do. I forgot who I was talking to for a second. Oh yeah. David Hess, best Thundercat. Clint Kelly, Disneyland sucks compared to Disney World. Absolutely. Best Thundercat, David. I really like Panthro. I dig Lion-O. I think he's cool. I think all the Thundercats are cool. Chitara's dope. I like Wily Cat, you know. As a kid, I fucking love Snarf. People hate him as an adult, but it doesn't bother me. You know. Thundercats is one of those cartoons that I believe is still 100% holds up really well. There were some great stories told in Thundercats. Rankin and Bass, animation. Tom, well again, like I said, you got that backstory. I wasn't, you know, and I talk about that in the video with my wife. I wasn't a Diz nerd, but since 2015, I absolutely, you know, I want to go back all the time. If I had the money and the friends, wink, to help, I would go back as much as I could. David, am I all into finding the hidden Mickeys at the park? No, we haven't gotten into that. I don't know if we would. I think it might be fun to do stuff like that, but it's so, going to those parks is so overwhelming, and the joy that I feel is, it's like I want to do as much as I can as fast as I can, and I shouldn't feel that way, because you have time to do it, especially if you've got the express passes, the fast passes, and all that stuff. For the most part, we always get to do the things we want to do, but we do spend time just looking, admiring, taking it all in. That's part of what I love about those parks, is just taking it all in and seeing what they've accomplished throughout the years, and just feeling that feeling of being a kid, regardless of liking Disney earlier or not. That place just makes you feel like a kid and brings you joy, and we need more of that, you know. That's a high, you know. Clint, Chris, do you guys get Dole Whips? It's my favorite thing at Disney. We liked the Dole Whip. I personally found it to be really extreme pineapple. And I like pineapple, but I definitely was like, whew, god damn, this is pineapple. But yeah, we like the Dole Whip. For the most part, anything we've had there, we've really enjoyed. And when we go back, we try to get a lot of the same things. And what's been great is that we've been able to go back around the same time, so it's always the Wine and Garden or Food and Garden Festival thing at Epcot. So we're always able to try all the different crazy foods at all the countries and everything, and all the drinks. That's awesome. Yeah, the turkey legs are good. There's so much good stuff. The chicken and waffles are delicious. Of course, the beignets. 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 Uh-huh. Getting down there, folks. About 15 more minutes and then I'm out. I am out for the evening. Oh my gosh, Clint, have I ever taken a dump inside Disney? I've dumped everywhere in Disney, and it's a magical experience unto itself. My dump grows flowers and whatnot, and then instantly birds come. And my shit gets turned into the topiary that you see around Epcot. Excellent. Somewhere your dump is still a part of Disney, David. Your fecal debris, your DNA has been sucked into the DNA of Disney. I'll look forward to smelling when I'm there again. Do y'all have a favorite park out of Epcot, Animal Kingdom, Hollywood Studios, and Magic Kingdom? No, Tom, this conversation took the exact right turn. You're dealing with Chris Seaver, man. That's what it's all about. Fecal debris at Disney. Yeah, Epcot, Animal Kingdom, Magic Kingdom, and Hollywood Studios. What do you guys love the most? I lean towards Magic Kingdom being my favorite. Second favorite is Epcot. Third is Hollywood. And then fourth is Animal Kingdom. We're going to hit up all four again. Hollywood needs more. Hollywood needs more. And certainly with Star Wars Land, it is the destination. That's the place I want to be. You know, I mean, unfortunately I won't be able to experience it this year, but when we go again, that's one of the main reasons we're going to go is to get sucked into the world of Star Wars, the galaxy far, far away. Can't wait. Avatar certainly added a whole bunch to Animal Kingdom. We got to do Flight of Passage. We didn't get to do the Navi River, but we want to do it this time, so we're hopefully we're going to set up the fast passes in advance for that. Expedition Everest, can't wait to do. I've always been afraid to do it, so I've never done it, but I'm going to do it this time. But yeah, I love all the countries in Epcot, so I love that aspect of it. But Magic Kingdom has the most fun, crazy rides for me, and it just, I think in general, I just feel the most kid-like at Magic Kingdom, I guess. But it's all wonderful. It's all wonderful. Yeah, well, I mean, we're gonna go back to Hollywood. We always do Hollywood just because, and we can never not do Star Tours. We do it several times every time we go. We're Star Wars nuts. But man, Star Wars Land, we cannot wait. We do the Muppets 3D, of course, and we didn't get to check out Toy Story Land because it opened after we were there last year. So we'll check that out. And just any glimpses of Star Wars Land that we can get. Clint, if you're referring to Flight of Passage, we really liked it, but we weren't blown away by it, but we really did like it. I honestly didn't feel like it was worth, like people wait like 3 hours for that ride. I don't think it's worth waiting 3 hours for that ride. But it was fun. But my favorite rides at Disney are Splash Mountain and Big Thunder Mountain. But I also love Haunted Mansion, and as cliche and cheesy as it is, I love Pirates of the Caribbean. Tom, I definitely will, because hopefully I want to bring you that care package, and if we can't bring the care package, then I'll be mailing it to you. Ah, Tom, good to know. I definitely will. Clint, my guilty pleasure ride is Small World. I don't think I'll do that. It doesn't. I don't know if it would appeal to me, but I do want to do the Seven Dwarfs mining cart. I would like to do that. I want to do Frozen Ever After. It's cheesy. I want to do. Um, I'd like to check out Peter Pan. I haven't checked out Peter Pan. I just wish. I wish that Hollywood Studios had the Indiana Jones ride that they have in LA at Disneyland, because that ride was phenomenal. And I could care less about the stage extravaganza at Hollywood Studios for Indiana Jones. The ride was phenomenal. Clint, you're actually on Small World right now. Or Flight of Passage, you're on a Banshee. $10. We got 10 minutes, folks. That's awesome. Play testing. That's great. Yeah, I don't know. I just want to do the seven. I want to do that ride. It's probably because of my nostalgia for Seven Dwarfs, Snow White. You know. But I'm also going to be doing Universal, man. I can't wait. I love Universal as well. So much fun. So much fun. All that shit, man. And Universal's putting in another theme park, which sounds amazing because they're adding more movie stuff and the Universal monsters and everything, and just woo, Nintendo Land. Come on, come on! I can't wait. It's gonna be fantastic. Yeah, and that's the thing with like Little Mermaid, with uh, Frozen Ever After or whatever, the Seven Dwarfs Mining Cart, the Peter Pan. There's always fucking giant waits for those rides. Tom, what? You've never had to pay to go to Universal? Why? Do you have like a pass? Do Disney people get to go free at Universal? Do you have like a year long pass or something like that? I don't know. If you got any Universal tips, hook me up, brother. Talk to me. Talk to me. I might have some Ghostbusters stuff for you. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, yeah, nudge, nudge. Man, I'm getting hungry. Jamo. Ah, man. You got to introduce me to those people that work there. Mr. Tom? Hmm? Man. Oh, man, that sounds great. living the life, living the dream. What are we down to? We're down to 8 people still watching. Man, this was a good one, guys. Thank you. Thank you much for joining me tonight. It was a good, lively discussion. It always winds down around this time. It's okay. It's 3 hours. We do this. It's pretty fantastic. I appreciate everybody who comes in and talks. It's a great time. Hope it brings you joy. Makes me happy. And keep watching the shows, man. If you haven't watched the shows on the channel, keep watching these shows. Let us know what you think of the shows. We try to drop stuff every week. Try to. Sometimes it's a little hard, but we've got a lot of stuff coming up. There's stuff shot already in the can that just needs to be uploaded. And I will try to do these live shows. Probably not every week. I think you know, I like to build up, because it was nice because we had a nice crew in here tonight. And sometimes when I do the live show every week, it can only be like 4 people in here, which is fine. But I like a menagerie. I want a whole group, a montage of people. Excellent, Clint. Excellent. Tom, all right. Thank you for joining us, Tom. We will talk soon, as we do. Clint, watch the Critters review today. Going to turn it on after the show. Excellent, excellent. Well, you know, you got my review. You'll see what I'm talking about. But yeah, so that's it, guys. Thank you. Thank you for showing up. And I will... You too, David. I will talk to you guys. I'll set it up so that maybe 2 weeks from now, on another Thursday night, we will do this again. So, much love, everybody. Thank you, and check out the channel, or check us out on Warlock Home Video Network on Facebook. Check us out on Instagram. It's Warlock HVN on Instagram. If you got some questions, you want to talk to me, you can talk to me at warlockhomevideo@gmail.com. But all the shows, all the content is right here on the YouTube show, on the YouTube channel. So thank you. Spread the word, spread the love, spread the 80s, spread the horror, spread the magic, spread the movies, spread yourselves.